Hey guys, this is VKeiBrowniePrince, and today I am recording a vlog about AMBW and interracial relationships. I am going to take this opportunity to express my personal opinions and share with you my past experience with interracial relationships as well as AMBW. Yeah, so there we go. For some background information, I am a senior in high school, and I am really in love with Asian culture. As far as Japanese, Chinese, and Korean music, language, food, fashion, pretty much every aspect of it. And I just kind of wanted to tie that in with my personal tastes as far as who I want to date in the future and all that good stuff. Sorry for seeming kind of down. I originally recorded this yesterday and I really messed it up, and it was really good, so bear with me. Recently I've been watching a lot of YouTubers such as TintyJK, Duck Duck Moose, and Icy Sparks 2007, just to name a few, and they inspired me to make this video. Personally, I'm very interested in interracial dating and ultimately interracial marriage. I don't know, it seems so interesting to me where you don't have to necessarily marry someone who looks just like you or who is the same color as you. It seems kind of boring to me. You know, I think love has no color, and I personally don't want to date someone or marry someone who looks like me. And that may be shallow of me, but in reality I think I've come a long way. There would have been a time, if you'd asked me about a year or two ago, would I date or would I consider dating an African American guy, I'd say no, strictly Asian. But I'm trying to broaden my horizons and give everybody a chance, even though I want this specific type of guy. I've dated black guys, I've dated white guys, I've dated Asian guys. You know, some are bittersweet, some ended pretty early on. You know, it just depends on the person and who fits me and my personality. I guess I'll start from the very beginning. Well, my very beginning. I was pretty young with the first guy I was interested in. He was Vietnamese, and he was probably the very first person I could, even though I still don't know what love is. He told me that he would like to spend the rest of his life with me, and that really stuck with me. And when it ended up not working, it broke my heart, but it did make me stronger in who I am today. The other Asian guy that I was involved with was the end of my second semester of sophomore year in high school. He was Filipino, and it lasted 3 weeks. I ended up meeting him out of pure chance. In my town where I live, it's kind of small. There's not really very many Asian people walking around. And that particular evening, I got me and my friend out of the house because we had been sitting around bored all day and we needed to get out of the house. So I dragged her and myself out, and we chilled out in our little downtown area. And there was this guy who walked down the street, and he was Asian, and he asked us where this ice cream place was. And we told him, we pointed him in the direction of where it was, and he went to find the place, and me and my friends looked at each other, and we were like, we can't pass this up, since, Asians are so scarce in our town. So we followed them, and we ended up striking up a conversation. My friend ended up striking a conversation because I'm kind of awkward and quiet and kind of shy when it comes to talking to somebody new. And long story short, I ended up getting his number from my friend, and we ended up texting, and we ended up deciding to go out that night, even though we didn't know each other very well. And I found it perfect timing because I had been wanting to find somebody to go to this high school dance with me. My first little, experience with going with somebody. And he was the first person I went with on like a legit first date. We went out to eat, got all dressed up, went out to eat, and we picked up my friend afterwards and went to the little global market and got Pocky and Ramune, and then we went on to the dance and stuff. And probably a week later, a week or two later, Kat was coming back from this trip from Milwaukee, Wisconsin, and I expressed to him some of my personal opinions on angsty teens and how stupid they were, and apparently he didn't really like that, and a couple of days later he dumped me. So, yeah, he dumped me during via text, during my 6-hour class that day, and I had to force myself not to break down. And I went ahead and I went to 7th hour, and I bottled up my feelings, and my head was whirling and everything else. And I texted another guy, a friend of mine, and I was like, where are you? And he said he was in the commons area where he usually is after school, just to say hi to friends before he goes home, and stuff. So I ended up going to the commons, and as soon as I saw his face, I started crying in his arms and stuff. But anyways, yeah, it was an experience. It wasn't hard. I mean, it was hard at the time, but it made me stronger, and it made me the person I am today. Aside from dating Asian people, I also dated black guys. One relationship, well, it wasn't really a relationship, but one little fling was really fun and teasing and all of that good stuff, but it wasn't like real. And then another one I hated this guy the entire time I was in middle school, and I decided to date him like the first couple of weeks of summer, and I dumped him after a week, which is bad. But and as far as white guys, I was going to date this one guy me and another friend got in contact with, and we had been meeting in the same downtown area at like a little coffee shop, and we'd chill out together. And one particular afternoon, my friend texted me and was like, I need to talk to you about something. And I was like, okay, because I think the night before, the guy friend had asked if I'd go out with him, and I was like, sure. And later on I found out that they had made out because he thought my answer was not concrete enough. So I dumped him, and he begged me to give him another chance, but I didn't. And this other white guy I dated, he was really sweet and really kind, but I just didn't feel like I was ready, and I dumped him after a week too, and I feel bad about that, but I don't know. I'm sorry if you're watching this. I don't know. I guess back to the Asian thing. The other day, I watched this guy. What is his name? His name was like Official Con something or other, and he talked about how people who are interested in AMBW relationships, they usually want to date the Japanese or the Chinese or the Korean guy, and he was like, Asian is Asian. Asians are people of Asia, not just Japanese, Chinese, Korean. And I was like, he has a point. It's really shallow of people, and also of me, for only wanting to date a Japanese or a Korean or a Chinese guy. And it was funny because I want to date those types of Asians, but I've already dated Asians who aren't Japanese or Korean or Chinese. And I found that interesting. I don't know, it just gives me something to think about. You know, Asian is more than just Chinese and Japanese and Korean. I can't, I can't be specific. You know, I get what I get. And who's to say that in the future I don't date and I don't marry a black guy who's into Asian stuff, you know? You know, you just never know what you're gonna get. I really don't like this vlog because the one I recorded yesterday was better. And I'm kind of pissed that this is sucky and I might delete it. Okay, that's all I wanted. See ya.